The collision, the rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the corporate tower, each drop like a bullet against glass. Maya Chen pressed her forehead to the cold surface, watching the city blur into watercolor streaks 40 floors below. The leather chair behind her still held the warmth of another sleepless night spent in her office, surrounded by the ghosts of a company she'd built from nothing. Another hostile takeover attempt, she whispered to her reflection, her breath fogging the window. At 34, she looked older. The stress lines around her emerald eyes told stories of betrayal, of family who'd sold her out for quick cash, of friends who'd chosen money over loyalty. The elevator chimed behind her. Maya didn't turn around. "I told security no visitors after midnight," she said, her voice carrying the exhaustion of someone who'd forgotten how to sleep. "Security doesn't stop people like me." The voice was rough velvet, scarred by cigarettes and whiskey. Maya turned slowly, her hand instinctively moving to the panic button on her desk. A man stood in the doorway, tall and lean, wearing a black coat that dripped rainwater onto her pristine marble floor. His dark hair was slicked back, and a jagged scar ran from his left temple to his jaw. "Who are you?" she asked, though something in her chest already knew this wasn't a simple break-in. He stepped closer, his movements predatory and precise. "Someone who knows what it feels like to lose everything to people you trusted." His eyes were storm gray, haunted. "Name's Gabriel Torres. I used to run security for Blackwater Industries." Maya's blood turned to ice. Blackwater. The company that had just launched the takeover bid that would destroy everything she'd worked for. "You're here to threaten me," she said, reaching for her phone. "I'm here to warn you," Gabriel's voice cracked slightly. "'Cause in 12 hours, everyone you think you can trust is going to stab you in the back. Just like they did to me." Thunder crashed outside, and the lights flickered. In the brief darkness, Maya saw something in Gabriel's eyes that mirrored her own pain. When the lights steadied, he was closer, close enough that she could smell rain and leather and something dangerous. "Why would you help me?" she whispered. Gabriel's laugh was bitter, because revenge tastes better when it's shared. He pulled an envelope from his coat and placed it on her desk. "Open it tomorrow morning." But Maya? His use of her first name sent electricity down her spine. "When you do, remember that everyone has a breaking point. Even you." He turned to leave, his footsteps echoing in the empty office. "Wait." The word escaped her lips before she could stop it. "How do I know you're telling the truth?" Gabriel paused at the elevator, his hand on the button. His smile was sharp as broken glass. "Because tomorrow morning, your assistant is going to hand you divorce papers from your husband, and 5 minutes later, your board is going to call an emergency meeting to vote you out." His eyes locked with hers. "The only question is whether you're going to fight back or let them bury you." The elevator doors closed with a soft whisper, leaving Maya alone with the envelope and the terrible certainty that her world was about to collapse. The betrayal. Maya's hands shook as she tore open Gabriel's envelope at exactly 9:03 a.m. Inside were photographs, bank statements, email chains, her husband David's signature on documents selling his 30% stake to Blackwater, her best friend and CFO Jennifer accepting wire transfers from offshore accounts, her own brother's handwriting on a contract dated 3 months ago. The office door burst open. Jennifer walked in with a manila folder, her usual bright smile replaced by something colder. "Maya, we need to talk about how you've been selling my company behind my back." Maya's voice was steady ice. She held up one of the photographs showing Jennifer shaking hands with Blackwater's CEO. "Or about how you've been sleeping with my husband while planning my destruction?" Jennifer's mask slipped. "You don't understand. Blackwater made us an offer we couldn't refuse. Your stubbornness was going to sink us all." "My stubbornness?" Maya stood slowly. "I built this company. With my blood, sweat, and 15 years of my life. You were working at a coffee shop when I hired you. I made it profitable." Jennifer slammed the folder on the desk. "These are the divorce papers David wanted me to give you. He's tired of living in your shadow." The words hit like physical blows. Maya had suspected David's distance. The late nights, the whispered phone calls, but Jennifer too. Her closest friend for over a decade. The board meeting is in an hour, Jennifer continued. We have the votes to remove you as CEO. You can step down gracefully, or we can make this messy. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Rooftop. Now, if you want to survive this. She looked at Jennifer, memorizing her face. Out of my office, Maya, please. This doesn't have to destroy our friendship. Friendship. Maya's laugh was sharp enough to draw blood. You destroyed that the moment you chose money over loyalty. Now get out before I call security. Minutes. Later, Maya stood on the building's rooftop, wind whipping through her hair. Gabriel emerged from behind the rooftop access wearing a different coat but the same haunted expression. You read the file, he said. All of it. Maya's eyes burned with unshed tears. How long have you been watching me? 6 months? Ever? Since Blackwater destroyed my life and killed someone I loved. His voice broke on the last words. They made the same offer to my team. Most took it. The ones who didn't. Touched his scar. Accidents happen. Who did you lose? Gabriel stared out at the city. My partner, not business partner. Life partner, Alina? She was going to expose Blackwater's money laundering operation. Made it look like a car accident. The raw pain in his voice resonated. With something deep in Maya's chest, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be angry. He turned to face her, his gray eyes blazing. Because anger is the only thing that will keep you alive in the next hour. Maya's phone rang. David's name on the screen. Answer it, Gabriel said softly. Let him think he's won. With trembling fingers, Maya accepted the call. Maya? David's voice was artificially gentle. Jen told me you saw the papers. 15 years of marriage, David. Was any of it real? Pause. Then you were never really there, Maya. Always working, always building your empire. I just got tired of being an accessory to your ambition, so you decided to sell me out instead of talking to me? The money will set us both free. You'll thank me eventually. Maya looked at Gabriel, who was watching her with an intensity that made her skin burn. No, David, I won't. She hung up and let the phone fall from her hands. It shattered on the concrete. Gabriel stepped closer. The board meeting starts in 20 minutes. They think they have you cornered. His voice dropped to a whisper. But what if we gave them a different kind of surprise? What are you talking about? His smile was dangerous. What if we burned it all down together? The alliance, the boardroom. Fell silent as Maya entered, Gabriel at her side. 12 faces turned toward them, some guilty, others openly hostile. David sat at the far end, his wedding ring conspicuously absent. Jennifer avoided eye contact entirely. Gentlemen, ladies? Maya's voice carried through the room like a blade. I believe you called this meeting to remove me as CEO, Richard Blackwater. Himself sat at the head of the table, his silver hair perfectly styled, his smile predatory. Maya, please sit. We have a generous severance package prepared. I'll stand. Thank you. She placed a tablet on the table and pressed play. I thought you might enjoy this recording first. David's voice filled the room. Once we get her out, we can strip the patents and sell them separately. The IP alone is worth $200 million. Jennifer's voice followed, and the offshore accounts are untraceable. By the time anyone realizes what happened, we'll be in Switzerland. The color drained from several faces. Blackwater's smile never wavered. Interesting theater, he said, but ultimately pointless. We have the votes. Actually, Gabriel spoke for the first time, pulling out his own device. You don't. The tablet showed bank records, wire transfers, email chains. But these were different from the morning's revelations. These showed Blackwater's illegal activities spanning 5 years. Money laundering, bribery, and in the final folder, evidence of Elena's murder. You killed her. Gabriel's voice was barely controlled fury. You ran her off that bridge because she found your dirty money. Blackwater stood slowly. Mr. Torres, I thought you'd learned your lesson about making accusations you can't prove. I can prove it. Gabriel's smile was razor sharp. Security cameras, tire tracks, the mechanic you paid to tamper with her brakes. He kept very detailed records before his own unfortunate accident. Maya felt the shift in the room. The board members were looking at Blackwater with growing horror. "There's more," Gabriel continued. 12 companies, 15 deaths. All people who got too close to the truth? "You're both delusional," Jennifer interjected, but her voice shook. "Shh, Richard, tell them this is insane." Blackwater's composure finally cracked. "Enough." He nodded toward the door, and 2 large men in suits entered. "Mr. Torres, you've been a persistent problem. Miss Chen, you should have taken the money." Maya grabbed Gabriel's hand instinctively. His fingers were calloused, warm, real. The police are already on their way," she lied smoothly. "No," Blackwater said. "They're not. Because you're both going to have a tragic accident. A murder-suicide, perhaps. Stress of losing everything. A stranger who promised revenge. Very believable." Gabriel stepped in front of Maya, his body a shield. "You want me? Come and take me." But she walks away. "Gabriel, no." The word escaped Maya's lips before she could stop it. In less than 24 hours, this scarred stranger had shown her more loyalty than her husband of 15 years. "How touching," Blackwater sneered. "But I'm afraid that's not how this works." The lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. In the chaos that followed, Maya heard gunshots, screaming, the crash of overturning furniture. Gabriel's hand never left hers, pulling her toward what she hoped was safety. They burst through a side door into a service hallway. Behind them, shouts echoed from the boardroom. "This way," Gabriel gasped, blood seeping through his shirt. "Stairwell. You're hurt." "I'm fine." But he stumbled, and Maya caught him, feeling the warmth of his blood on her hands. "No, you're not." She looked into his gray eyes, seeing pain and something else, something that made her chest tight. "Why did you protect me?" Gabriel's hand came up to touch her face, his thumb brushing her cheek. "Because some things are worth dying for." The door behind them exploded inward. Blackwater's men filled the hallway. "Run," Gabriel whispered. But Maya didn't run. Instead, she kissed him. Hard and desperate, and tasting of fear and fury. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "Together," she said, "we finish this together." Gabriel's smile was brilliant and broken. Together, they turned to face their pursuers. Hands clasped, ready for war. The sacrifice, the underground parking garage, reeked of oil and desperation. Maya pressed Gabriel against a concrete pillar, her hands trying to stem the bleeding from the bullet wound in his shoulder. Above them, footsteps echoed through the stairwells. "The files," Gabriel gasped, pressing a blood-stained USB drive into her palm. "Everything's on there. Lena's investigation, the murders, the money trail. Get it to the FBI. We'll get it there together." But Maya could see the truth in his eyes. The wound was worse than he'd let on. Too much blood on her hands. Too much. Pain in his face. "Maya." His voice was getting weaker. "I need to tell you something. Save your strength." "No." His hand gripped hers with desperate intensity. "The night I came to your office, it wasn't random." Maya's blood chilled. "What do you mean?" Gabriel's eyes closed in pain. "Blackwater hired me 6 months ago, before Elena died. I was supposed to get close to you, gain your trust, find weaknesses. He could exploit." The words hit her like a physical blow. Maya pulled back, the USB drive slipping from her fingers. "You've been lying to me this entire time?" "At first, yes." Gabriel's voice cracked. "But then Elena died, and I realized what kind of monster he was. And then I met you, and I saw the same pain in your eyes that I felt every day. The same betrayal. So this is all just revenge for you? I'm just a convenient weapon?" "No." Gabriel struggled to sit up straighter. "Maya, look at me, please." She turned away, tears burning her eyes. "I trusted you, I thought." "You thought what? Thought maybe I wasn't completely alone?" Gabriel's laugh was bitter and broken. "You're not alone. That's what I've been trying to tell you. Yes, I was hired to destroy you. But somewhere between watching you work 18-hour days and seeing how you treat your employees like family, I fell in love with you. Maya's breath caught. Don't. I fell in love with your strength, your integrity, the way you refuse to give up even when everyone abandons you. I fell in love with the woman who builds schools in her father's memory and donates half her salary to children's hospitals. His voice dropped to a whisper. I fell in love with you, Maya, and that terrifies me more than Blackwater ever could. Above them, the footsteps were getting closer. Maya could hear radio chatter, orders being barked. The truth, Gabriel continued. I stopped reporting to Blackwater 2 months ago. Everything I've done since Elena died has been about protecting you. Maya picked up the USB drive with shaking hands. Why should I believe you? Because I'm about to prove it. Gabriel pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Blackwater, it's Torres. His voice was suddenly strong again. I have her. Underground parking, level B3. Come alone if you want her alive. Maya's eyes widened in horror. Gabriel, what are you doing? He ended the call and looked at her with infinite tenderness. Giving you a chance to escape. I'm not leaving you. Yes, you are. Gabriel struggled to his feet using the pillar. For support, there's a maintenance tunnel behind that door. It leads to the subway system. Take the files and run. Gabriel, please. I'll be here in 5 minutes with half an army. But he'll come to this exact spot because he thinks I'm delivering you to him. Gabriel's smile was heartbreaking. By the time he realizes the truth, you'll be long gone. The elevator chimed in the distance. Maya, go. Now I can't. Words tore from her throat. I can't lose someone else I care about. Gabriel's eyes filled with something that might have been wonder. You care about me? I think I'm falling in love with you too, she whispered. And I think that terrifies me more than anything. He kissed her then, soft and desperate and tasting of goodbye. When they broke apart, both were crying. Then live, Gabriel whispered against her lips. Live and make them pay. Live and remember that someone loved you enough to die for you. The elevator doors opened. Multiple footsteps echoed through the garage. Gabriel Torres. Blackwater's voice boomed off the concrete. I believe you have something that belongs. To me. Gabriel pushed Maya toward the maintenance door. Please, let me do this one thing right. Maya ran, clutching the USB drive in the memory of his kiss. Behind her, she heard Gabriel's voice, strong and defiant. Blackwater. She's already gone, and you're never going to find her. The gunshots that followed shattered more than just the silence. The reckoning, 6 months later, Maya stood in a federal courthouse watching Richard Blackwater being led away in handcuffs. The jury had deliberated for less than 3 hours. Guilty on all counts, life in prison without parole. The USB drive Gabriel had died for contained everything. Financial records spanning a decade, recorded confessions, video evidence of Elena's murder, a digital paper trail that had brought down not just Blackwater, but an entire network of corruption. David had testified against his former associates in exchange for a reduced sentence. 10 years instead of life. Jennifer had taken a plea deal. 15 years eligible for parole and 7. Maya felt nothing watching them led away. The betrayal was a scar now, healed over, but permanent. She walked out of the courthouse into autumn sunshine, her heels clicking on marble steps worn smooth by decades of justice, served and denied. A reporter thrust a microphone at her face. Miss Chen, how does it feel to see your husband's conspirators finally convicted? Ex-husband, Maya corrected quietly. And it feels like justice. Finally. She pushed through the crowd to a black sedan waiting at the curb. As the city blurred past the window, Maya pulled out her phone and scrolled to a contact she'd saved, but never called. Gabriel Torres. The number had been disconnected for months, but she couldn't bring herself to delete it. The sedan pulled up to Graceland Cemetery. Maya walked through fallen leaves to a simple granite headstone that read, Gabriel Torres, beloved partner to Elena Vasquez. He died fighting for truth. She knelt and placed a single white rose on the grave. We won, she whispered to the stone. Blackwater got life, but the company survived. The people who betrayed me are in prison. Her voice broke. But I would trade all of it to have you back. Would you really? Maya's heart stopped. She turned. Slowly, afraid she was hallucinating from grief and exhaustion. Gabriel stood 20 feet away, leaning heavily on a cane, his left arm in a sling. Older, thinner, scarred by months of recovery, but alive. Impossible, beautiful, alive. How? The word came out as barely a whisper. Bulletproof vest. Gabriel's smile was tentative, uncertain, and a very good trauma surgeon. Men thought I was dead and left me bleeding in the garage. FBI found me when they raided the building. Maya stood on shaking legs. Why didn't you tell me you were alive? Because I needed to disappear until the trial was over. Blackwater had people everywhere, and I couldn't risk him finding out I survived. Gabriel took a step closer. And because I needed to decide whether you could ever forgive me for lying to you, Gabriel, I know I have no right to ask for another chance. I know you probably hate me for deceiving you, for making you believe I was dead for all of it. His voice was raw with hope and fear. But these 6 months without you have been the longest of my life. And I had to tell you that I love you. Really, truly, completely love you. Maya walked toward him slowly, memorizing his face. The new scars, the pain lines around his eyes, the way he held himself differently now. When she was close enough to touch him, she stopped. I buried you, she said quietly. I mourned you. I blamed myself for your death. Maya, I'm sorry. I rewrote my will and left everything to the Alina Vasquez Foundation for Investigative Journalism. Her voice grew stronger. I sold my company and used the money to start a nonprofit that protects whistleblowers. Gabriel's eyes widened. Gave up everything you built? Everything I built was hollow, without people I could trust to share it with. Maya reached out and touched his face, her thumb tracing the familiar scar. The question is, can I trust you? With your life? With your heart? With everything? Gabriel leaned into her touch. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm asking. Anyway, because a world without you isn't worth living in. Maya studied his face for a long moment, seeing truth in those storm-gray eyes, seeing love and regret and desperate hope. Have conditions, she said finally. Anything. No more lies. Ever. No matter how much the truth might hurt. I swear. We start over. Completely. New names if we have to, new city, new life. I don't want any connection to the people who betrayed us. Gabriel nodded eagerly.
Where do you
Want to go? Maya smiled for the first time in months. Somewhere warm. Somewhere we can build something real together. Together, Gabriel repeated, as if the word was a prayer. Maya kissed him then, soft and careful and full of possibility. When they broke apart, both were crying. I love you too, she whispered against his lips. Scars and lies and all. Gabriel pulled her close with his good arm, and they stood together in the cemetery, surrounded by the dead, but finally, impossibly, alive. 6 months later, they were married on a beach in Costa Rica. Maya wore a simple white dress, and Gabriel wore a suit that hid most of his scars. Their only witnesses were the waves and the sunset and the promise of tomorrow. They built a new life together, a school for underprivileged children, a home filled with laughter and trust, and the kind of love that grows stronger through surviving. Fire. And sometimes in the evening light, when Maya watched Gabriel reading to the children they taught, she remembered the broken people they'd been in that corporate tower. The ones who'd lost everything and found each other in the wreckage. She wouldn't change a single moment of the pain that had brought them together. Because some love stories begin in ashes and grow into something beautiful enough to last forever. The end.